The show Wayward Pines starts as something where we're following the character of Ethan Burke, played by Matt Dillon, as a Secret Service agent who is searching for two missing agents. And he winds up in the town of Wayward Pines, Idaho. He unfortunately is in a car accident and is waylaid in the hospital in that town. And what looks to be an ideal, bucolic, almost Norman Rockwell American town turns out to be something far more complex and dark underneath. And that's one thing that we tried to do in creating the show, is create this town that had that beautiful kind of timeless storybook feel. But then when you look really carefully, things are just not quite right if you really pay close attention. And that's what's going to start to be revealed. Well, the things that are good or that make it complicated in a really rich and intriguing way are that Ethan has his history of some post-traumatic stress trauma, and he's also been in a car accident where they tell him in the hospital he has a head injury. So both of those things can, obviously contribute to making your reality slightly altered, and you're not quite sure if things are seeming exaggerated or if you're hallucinating at times or if things are real or not real. So there's that, plus then there's the reality of this town. Well, the reality of this town is actually something far stranger than anything Ethan could make up in his mind. That's what he will come to find out.
So we're to believe that everything he's seeing is actually happening?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we shouldn't think he's stuck in his head?
No, but I think sometimes you may wonder that, and that's a good thing if you wonder that, but it's real.
Harold and Kate's relationship, it's established they have one pretty early on in the show.
Yeah.
And it's something we're not quite sure if it's like make-believe and they're just trying to pretend it's there, or if they have a genuine relationship. How genuine is it?
Oh, that's a very good question. I think it's all the things that you just mentioned. I think it's very genuine, and it also has elements of make-believe. So I think both things are true. I think that they may be playing certain roles, and I think they've been probably doing it for a period of time, and they also genuinely love each other and have a very deep relationship.
And are these characters we should be trusting? It's hard to know who to trust when we get into this show.
It is. That's what's great about it, because hopefully it'll keep you guessing and wanting to know more and coming back. Harold and Kate, I feel, are very trustworthy.
So Juliette Lewis's character, Beverly, we don't actually know if she's somebody we should be believing, because maybe it's just the way she's playing the charter.
Yes.
So you want to believe her because you want Ethan to have like a friend, a buddy in the inside there. But at the same time, I don't know, she's kind of squirrely.
Yeah, she's one of my very favorite characters on the show. I mean, I find Juliette incredibly watchable as an actress, and Juliette brings as a person, she's incredibly smart and quirky. She's her own person, and she brings that quality, so there's always something just slightly tilted about her, and that works perfectly with this character. And you're supposed to feel those things, yet ultimately I kind of always trust my gut, and as a viewer and someone who participates in a story, and Juliette has such a true kind of heart to her that I find her also extremely sympathetic and likable in the show. Well, Adam Hassler is another agent that works at the Secret Service office in Seattle, where Ethan Burke, Matt Dillon's character, comes from, and there were colleagues there. And he, you will find out, is involved from afar in a very, very deep way with what is going on in Wayward Pines. And Adam Hassler, who is a very kind of clean-cut, all-American guy who fits the perfect image of what you would think of when you think of a Secret Service agent, he may be a little more complicated than that. He may not always have the truest of intentions. Let's just say that sometimes maybe his personal agenda might get ahead of his professional agenda.
But there seemed to be a hint that he might have a personal motivation with regards to Ethan's wife, Teresa.
Okay, good. I'm glad you got that.
Maybe it was the glances, maybe it's the body language.
No, I'm glad you got that, because you're right. And that's what I was saying. His personal agenda, his emotional life got a hold of him in a way that he probably never expected to have happen. He may be a little in love with Teresa.
So is that something they're going to explore further, or is that just hinted at?
I think it will be explored further, and it will reveal itself in a very interesting way about how he's involved in this world of Wayward Pines, because it all goes back to that, which is really interesting. And in the show, you will, Ethan arrives there, and everything seems quite normal, like the regular world that we live in today, except for small details like there's a rotary phone, or there will not be televisions in the homes. So it's you have to kind of look and kind of watch. Clothing and car models and things like that are kind of a timeless nature. It never pinpoints something to a specific period of time. He sees KATE HEWSON's character, Carla Gugino, and he just saw her 3 weeks ago, yet somehow she's 10 years older than the last time he saw her. And that is one of the really fascinating things that you're going to learn the truth of in episode 5. Why there is that shift in time.
Is it true, like she asked, that it's being experienced differently for the characters inside of Wayward Pines? Or are they experiencing it all at the same rate?
They experience time at the same rate when they're together in Wayward Pines. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So again, it's not per person; it's just per environment.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Because I didn't get that when I was watching it. I was like, oh gosh, I think each of these persons like their own little time world.
Well, there is a certain truth to that, because some of them have been in Wayward Pines for a longer period of time, and some of them have possibly come there from different periods of time.
Well, like Beverly said, she'd been there for like about a year.
Exactly.
And then Carla's
and she
character,
said it was
Kate,
1988.
Yeah.
Yet it's 2012.
So my brain just kind of did flip-flops when I thought about it. Like,
That's
what?
exactly right. And it will do flip-flops. And I promise you there is a very clean, smart, understandable explanation for it that's really satisfying. It's definitely closed as the 10 hours, so we definitely, we feel, tell a really satisfying story, beginning, middle, and end. And at the end of the 10th episode, there's another great reveal and another great thing that happens, and you will feel gratified and like you have closure. Also, the world could continue should anyone want it to, and yet it wasn't designed that way.